wants to pay that, fine. I got no problem with that.
Reed, could you do some checking and find out if there's any EMT classes coming up in Goodland soon?
'Cause we're gonna
Not
sit here and
before,
argue.
hopefully, the
And
proposed
argue.
one that they do
And
here.
I don't want to do that.
I'm still
Well,
waiting on those
that's-
numbers, but that would be the next one.
That's the answer to everything, is getting people.
Right, and that's why I said that the instructor position in your local EMS is as important as your director position, because of turnover.
But we have to keep people on call. And I just don't want to, legally, we can't go uncovered. So, I mean, all right.
So let's do this, if it's okay with you. Let's put back shift bidding and let's review it every month. And I'll have the
I'm okay
dollars
with that.
every month of what it's costing us.
You've still got quite a bit left in your budget, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, because
When do you think you'll run out of money?
we'll know more of that at the end of the next month.
Well, and that's
You're
why,
either just over budget right now on your personnel expenses, or you're just
Right,
inside.
right,
I-
personnel.
Yeah.
The thing is, when I did my budget prep, I think it was commodities. We didn't figure we were gonna use all of our commodity money this year.
So you wanted to move that from that line up to personnel,
Well,
maybe?
what it's looking like is, at the end of the year, we're gonna have to move anything that's left over up to personnel. But if we really watch it and I come and report every month, I would feel more
Well,
comfortable.
that's part of a manager's job, is to watch his or her budget. So yes,
Right.
watch your budget.
Right, right.
Where you're at,
Okay.
so.
Like I said, historically, shift bidding has not cost us that much. And I hope.
Keep it that way.
I know. But I think the longer we use it, the worse it's gonna get, though, too. But if that can get us through January 1st.
Was that 47,000 or 42,000?
I think it was 47.
Okay, I wrote it real fast, I wanted to make sure I had that clarified. Okay, thank you.
I'll be able to rerun that report as soon as the treasurer closes out the month of June, and we'll have
Looks
at
like
least 6 months.
contractually you're running 49.9. This is of May.
Percent? Oh, yeah, okay.
Your commodities, you're
Yeah,
Running
June will give you
30.2.
6 months,
Six.
half year. We'll
Yeah.
know exactly where you're at by Wednesday next week. We'll know.
And what has made personnel the way it is today is our volume has been real low. So we haven't been paying people as much as when our volume was high a year ago. However, we had a very expensive March, an extra about $9,000 in payroll for March.
See what I
But
was
if
talking
volume
about
goes
here.
up, revenue also
I
goes
knew
up.
he was over there, and he brought
So-
it back under control there, but don't know where we're at for June till we get the figures.
excuse me. Well, need a motion, whatever.
I'll make a motion that we approve shift bidding for the month of July.
And well, yeah,
Yeah, and I can just come back.
and then we'll look at it at the end.
Yeah.
Okay.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign.
All right, anything else?
Yes, Ryan?
I'm just asking as a manager though, what if you don't get people to sign up if you're not shift here? I mean, the holiday weekend starts tomorrow, I guess is my concern for
Well,
Ask them that so we know.
Reed has a problem.
that is
If
a.
feel comfortable you can get one station staff in the county?
You know, do I feel comfortable? We always have, but that's not to say that we always can. And we'll just have to see once they put this out, how many people respond back to it.
Thank you, Tess.
Sure.
You know,
I just don't want to get audited by the state and then say, well, you didn't have people on coverage Friday night. Nothing happened or something happened. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So we're trying to do what we can as commissioners. I guess we're going to put some weight on you on this.
Yeah, if we don't get anybody to sign up, I'll be calling you, I guess. This is going to be what I'm doing.
Okay.
And I guess the next thing I'd say is, can I go outside of county with this?
Yeah, Sherman, we got those two people. And then Colby, of course, yeah, I know their pay scale's a little higher than us, it looked like. But
I think if we can't cover it with shift bid, we would attempt to cover it with an outside service instead of an outside technician. So see if Goodland could station an ambulance here. See if Colby can station an ambulance
that's
here.
going to be really expensive, isn't it?
You know, and Atwood was in this predicament several years ago, and they brought all of us surrounding counties in, and I believe there was nobody that could help.
Okay, well, the answer to this problem
Is a class.
Is a class. But we've got to do what we can to make it until the class. So you know that better than I do. Let's see how this goes. We got to do what we can to stay legal. So I guess keep us apprised of the situation. You've got my number, you've got Rodney's and Ed's, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Thank you, Reed.
Yep, thank you.
Life Team is due now, aren't they?
Yes. they
Reed,
are.
have you heard from Michael Johnson from Life Team? You know, he had an emergency last time and called or left me an email and
Did you have something, Ryan?
canceled, but I've not heard from him there, and there's not been a call into
But I
the
can tell
office.
you that we've got a lot of stuff going on down in Sherman County that he's also involved in. It's going to be a meeting today, so he should be around. We
Okay.
have a meeting down there.
At what time?
At the time, and he will know he's trying to do
Okay.
I have an item to bring up.
Okay.
I had a resident in my district complain to me yesterday. He felt that his appraised value of his ranch and farm should not be on the public website. Come to find out, everybody in this county is on that website. It is a website for county appraisers statewide. Some counties are controlling it by having a code that the person can use to access the,
Their own account.
okay? Most of those counties are on the western side of the state. Most of the counties that are on the eastern side of the state are totally open. But to me, before this data was put on the website, I think we should have been informed and briefed as thoroughly as possible.
Well, what's the
Thomas
concern?
County
Because
and
anyone could walk in and just ask for that information. Because it's public. I mean, I could walk into that office, ask for it,
For
and the appraiser would have to give it to me.
for somebody else's or
Yes.
their own?
For anybody.
Okay.
Yeah,
that's-
I mean, I
that's-
think
that's the issue.
I
that-
think
that's what
anyone
I
who's
didn't know.
ever house hunted before, the first
Yeah.
stop they make is the appraiser's office
Okay.
to go in. So I mean,
I'll only speak because I worked in there, but the only information that's not available publicly is sales information.
Okay. I didn't know how to answer the gentleman's question.
yeah, I mean
And I
that.
told him I would bring it up in a meeting today because I wanted information.
Yeah, that,
Also, when I was in the office, I was the one that set that website up, our county for that
Our county,
website.
okay.
With,
So it's been up for some time.
with Kirsten Jordan. and
Okay,
we
well, then it-
coordinated that, and I didn't put a password on it, and I did mention that to the board. It was a previous board maybe.
Yeah.
And
Well,
they
I'll
were
get
fine
back
with
with
it.
my constituent and tell him that it's been up and it was,
Yeah, and I think,
It is public
Yeah, it is public.
information.
So even if it weren't up on the internet, anyone could go into the appraiser's office and just
but
ask
I
for
didn't even
that
know it was
information.
there.
I didn't either, but you can tell Larry said he set it up, so he called him.
He's
Yeah.
really good about following
How would I know he set it up?
He did say he did.
It's very handy. And what it does, it saves a lot of foot traffic and phone calls in that office.
Okay. Marlon?
As all of you, most of you know, we have a small place in Overland Park that we spend time in the winter
Yeah.
that we own. And one of my neighbors came to me one day and said, "This is what your house is appraised at." It's part of public information.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, that's the way this country is run, as far as I know.
Okay. Well, I'll get back with that gentleman and let him know that it is an open record and
Okay.
And we need to set a budget board date.
Okay. Dave, you had some other stuff?
A little more clarification. On this Austin Peters report, it had your first recommendation. Was you guys aware of that if you was a non-elected position, there is a minimum and a maximum salary?
yes.
If you're an elected position,
It's
you have a
salary.
minimum and a maximum, but it's set at the maximum rate.
They're the same.
It's set at a straight rate.
Okay?
Deb already informed us of that earlier when you wasn't here.
Okay. So they're at a maximum rate. So then the recommendation two, when you have the others that are moved up, how do we know who them people are?
The 17 people,
And what rate are they going to be at?
they're going to remain at the rate they're at until we make adjustments for next year.
Okay.
Because they're already in the range of the other counties. All we're
Yeah, they're
gonna,
in the minimum and maximum range. That's what I'm saying.
right?
Yeah, Ryan?
My question earlier was similar to Dave's. If we don't decide where they're at in that range now, when you guys make the decision to raise them in January, we have to know that now so we can budget for that.
When we go through the department's budgets,
You guys are gonna handle that.
we'll have to do it.
Okay,
We'll have to do
That's
it.
my concern, is you're gonna have to budget now, so we're not, because I know like my department, we try to budget as close as possible in the personnel line item. Well, then if the decision is made to raise somebody next year, the money's not, like currently, several departments are over budget personnel because people got raised. So we just have to take that into consideration.
So you guys have to make a decision before you do this budget study.
During the budget cycle, we'll have to make the decision, yes.
What I'm saying, you need to, before you do your budget study, you guys need to make a decision
No,
on
we
whether.
don't. We can make it when we go by
But
department.
they've already made a decision, haven't you guys already made a decision as to the minimum maximum ranges?
That is correct.
They've already
We
done
have.
that.
We
Okay.
have already made that decision.
But how do we know who that 17 people are?
Well, you guys have identified those positions. I feel like we've said this like.
I haven't seen them, that's what I'm
Right,
wondering.
but at this point, that's public information
The minimum and the maximum.
for
ranges.
both the 12 and the 17, because that have been adopted. So Deb can tell you that.
Okay,
Okay.
that's what I need to know.
Did you have anything else, Dave? Are you done?
I'm done.
Okay.
God.
Anybody else have anything else?
I do.
Okay.
I would like about 10 minutes of executive session for non-elected personnel, if I could please request that.
Is Life Team going to come?
I don't think so.
Okay,
Can I make my observation?
yeah.
This doesn't belong, it belongs in a town hall meeting. It also occurred to me with respect to my fight with the bond issue. I talked to Amanda a couple of weeks ago as to how appraisals are made. And I don't fully understand it, but apparently it's averaged out over 5 or 10 years or something like that. The current wheat price, which is all that I do, is $2.90 a bushel.
And see the status.
I talked to a banker who is married to a classmate of mine who owns a bank in Overland. he said they figure the cost of production of wheat is $200 an acre. We're probably running somewhere around $50 or $80 an acre. We're going to get 120 to 150 bucks an acre maybe out of our wheat crop. So we're running at a deficit. Now what I'm saying is, over time, the land values are going to go down, which is the biggest source of property revenue in this county, isn't that right? So that's going to put even more of a shortfall on the Good Sam and their plans. And I'm sorry, I'm just not somebody that lines up public town hall meetings. I'm just throwing it out. It has no business here. It's just going to be another problem.
It is.
Seems to me.
Anything else?
Deb wants
Okay,
to-
I'll move that we go into executive session to discuss non-elected personnel
10 minutes.
for 10